Now, did I know that breaking news, the dude that lied on Shedeur, head coach Brian Daboll, would be fired? No. See, everybody thought we would wake up to Stefanski being fired, but it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. I know it's coming. It's coming. It's happening. It's happening. It's happening. But what this message should prove, it should show to everybody out there that went against this key.
Brian Daboll just found out the universe has jokes sharper than a rooftop wind gust, and it picked him as the punchline. The same coach who once tried to drag Shedeur Sanders is now packing boxes, clearing his desk, and wondering how everything fell apart so fast. People are out here asking if this was bad luck, karma clocking in for overtime, or Shedeur's silent comeback hitting harder than any touchdown celebration. If you're liking this craziness, subscribe to the channel because we're just getting warmed up. Word on the streets is that Karma must have grabbed a fresh coffee and decided to run a full highlight reel through Brian Daboll's coaching career. The man who once looked at Shedeur and said he wasn't ready is now the one with plenty of free time to fill out paperwork and figure out how to explain an 8-26 record with a straight face. That's not just bad, that's don't even try to negotiate a new contract, bad. It almost feels like the universe leaned back, took a sip and said, "Oh, you thought you could talk slick about Deion Sanders' son and walk away clean?" Because here's the wild part. Shedeur didn't need to post anything, didn't need to talk back, didn't need to throw shade. Nothing. Karma lit up the scoreboard in HD with no commercial breaks, and it spoke louder than any response he could have given. But let's rewind this tape for anyone who missed the build-up to this cosmic twist.
When things happen to coaches, players, famous people in general, all these old videos start to pop up on Twitter or X, TikTok, Instagram. All these reaction videos, discussion videos start to pop up. And with Brian Daboll, the first thing that pops up is Shedeur and his pre-draft journey. Let's say pre-draft journey. Because when you go back and look, right? When Shedeur was at the bowl game, he had red and blue cleats.
Before the NFL draft, Shedeur Sanders, the son of primetime himself, calm under pressure like a tech rep surviving an Apple launch day stampede, was projected to go early. First round type early. Then out of nowhere, here comes Brian, suddenly acting like he's the league's top talent evaluator, ready to drop his expert opinion. Forget coaching his own sinking team. No, he had to shift the spotlight by giving his take on a college quarterback who wasn't even in his building yet. What better way to pull eyes off your own mess than to point at someone else and claim they're not ready, right? Reports say that in one of those pre-draft meetings, Brian decided he didn't like how Shedeur carried himself. Maybe he expected the man to show up with a full slideshow, a thesis, and a drumline just to prove he belonged. The whole thing felt dramatic, unnecessary, and honestly, just strange. Let me know when you're ready for the next chunk. Meanwhile, DLL's own squad couldn't run an offense that lasted longer than a weekend sale, but he still had the nerve to judge somebody else's install package. That's like a chef who burned down his own kitchen trying to tell Gordon Ramsay he seasons food wrong. Shedeur probably walked into that meeting thinking it was a regular talk, plays, football, respect, only for it to flip into one of Daboll's gotcha episodes.
Daboll is not a scapegoat. He absolutely needed to go. Let's get things straight. He was 11-33 over his last 3 seasons. He fired 2 of his 3 coordinators and changed play calling with the other. He fired 5 of his 9 position coaches and started 6 different quarterbacks and did not have a single winning record with any. It was just endless finger pointing, and there's so much examples of it. At the end of the day, he's had talent on these teams. I thought the Giants on paper were going to be one of the best defenses in football with all the talent they brought in, but here they are, gave up 75 points in fourth quarters over the last 4 games. They only have 6 turnovers all year. People want to blame Shane Bowen, their DC, but he shouldn't have even gotten the job.
Wild. Reports claim Shedeur wasn't prepared, but let's be real. You know what else wasn't prepared? The Giants' offensive line, the secondary, and the entire win column. But somehow Brian Daboll walked around with the confidence of a man who thought 8-26 was some kind of genius experiment instead of a record that makes fans cover their eyes. Fast forward and now he's out, fired, dismissed, escorted out so quick the doors probably shook. If karma ever made a highlight reel, this moment would be the opening clip. He once said Shedeur wasn't ready, and boom! Now Brian's the one not ready for next season. The irony is slow-cooked, seasoned heavy, and served with poetic justice on a shiny platter. You would think a coach with back-to-back losing seasons would stay humble for a minute, right? But nope.
Have fired Brian Daboll. He's gone. New era. Honestly, this has been a long time coming, dude. He probably should have got fired at least a year or two ago. Nothing that he's been able to do has worked. I'm a little surprised it happened now, honestly. I mean, they were so far down in the dumps all season. Is what it is. I mean, much needed firing for the Giants. I don't know who they're going to go after next, but very interesting.
Brian wanted to critique a quarterback who literally grew up studying game film next to Deion Sanders, someone who carries confidence like it's part of his daily uniform. Shedeur's been shaped by greatness since day one. But go ahead, coach. Tell everyone again how he wasn't prepared. This from the same man who looked shocked every single Sunday when his quarterback got sacked for the 5th time, like it was brand new information. The football gods must have been over it, because they saw all the receipts, sat back with popcorn, and waited. And every time Brian tried to defend that 8-26 record with, "We're building something," the universe side-eyed him like, "Yeah, what you're building is a resume gap." Sure enough, here we are. He is building something. An Indeed profile with a fresh headshot and a hopeful caption. What makes this whole thing even wilder is that Brian's fall from grace isn't just karma, it's consistency. The man consistently stumbled upward until gravity finally said, enough. One minute he's calling plays, the next he's calling his agent like, so, what's next? And somewhere in Cleveland, Shedeur Sanders is probably stretching, staying calm, sipping water like a pro, and saying, God don't miss, because here's the real twist. Shedeur didn't crash and burn like Brian predicted. Not even close. The man is getting his shot with the Cleveland Browns while Brian is updating his resume and pretending he's exploring new opportunities.
Record on the show before you came on and did the intro. I think it's a terrible idea they fired him.
Like when they did?
That was my whole
next
thing.
year.
If he's not the guy, totally get that. Like his resume, again, we were talking about blowing the fourth quarter leads and your defense not playing up. Like Daboll in the first year was known as like a culture guy. Even when you lose these guys like Jackson Dart, Cam Scatteraboo, Malik Neighbors, just being up by 10 or plus in the fourth quarter, blowing the leads. Yes, defensively. Culture wins are going to would still happen. They'd still get you, still edge out a couple wins for you.
You need the head coach that's going to somehow impart onto Jackson that he needs to protect himself.
That's the type of irony teachers should break down in literature class. Then enter Kevin Stefanski, stepping up as the next contestant on Who Wants to Upset Karma. The Browns head coach tried to keep things corporate and safe, saying, it's not fair to Dylan Gabriel to talk about Shedeur Sanders being the hero. Oh, Kevin, my guy. You just watched Brian turn into a cautionary tale and you're walking down the exact same road like it's a scenic trail. Brian's career just folded like a cheap lawn chair at a windy cookout. And here you are tempting fate like your job is locked in. You know who else said things weren't fair? Brian Daboll, and look where that got him. Now Stefanski is out here doing PR gymnastics to explain why Shedeur isn't getting reps. And it's like watching someone stand in a hurricane holding an umbrella and insisting they'll stay dry. It makes no sense. The offense looks allergic to touchdowns, the scoreboard barely moves, and somehow Shedeur is still on the sideline like an unused cheat code waiting to be activated. You'd think after watching Brian implode in real time, Stefanski would have pulled back and said, maybe I should give this Sanders kid a real shot. But nope, this man seems fully committed to discovering how many field goals it takes to lose a game in the most creative ways imaginable. And it's not even subtle. The Browns are struggling on offense, yet the head coach acts like Shedeur's existence is some kind of urban myth. Oh, we'll get to him someday, like he's a side quest in a video game. Meanwhile, Shedeur has been ready since week 1, standing there like, you really gonna pretend I'm invisible?
Going to the Giants because the Giants were at practices. They were showing him that much love, right? They were showing him that much love. And we like, okay, Shedeur in New York makes sense, right? And then, boom, the combine. the team interviews. And it was kind of weird. It was like, because all of a sudden, Shedeur, who's been preparing for this situation all his life, is now in the situation and he was unprepared. Then all these rumors started to come out. They were unprepared. He got an attitude, this, that, and the third. But they never showed what actually happened.
The man probably has the entire playbook memorized forward and backward and could run drills blindfolded at this point. But don't stress, Karma is patient, watching everything and taking notes. Just like Brian, Stefanski keeps dodging the obvious until it smacks him in the face. He's out here protecting quarterbacks like it's some loyalty ceremony, while Shedeur's career is loaded with potential energy ready to explode the moment he gets real reps. The longer they keep him waiting, the harder Karma's gonna swing. And when it lands, it won't whisper. It'll show up in ESPN alerts with bold headlines. And what makes it wild is we've already seen this whole movie before. The level of audacity could power a Tesla. When Shannon Sharpe had to jump in and break down how ridiculous the situation was, that's how you knew things had gone south. When UNC starts cooking you on live TV, it's a wrap. Now back to Karma, because she's not just fair, she's thorough. Brian's firing wasn't some random moment. It was a full cosmic audit. Every shady pre-draft comment, every disrespectful remark, every moment he dodged accountability, all of it got tallied up. The universe basically said, "Oh, you thought you were slick. Let me balance these books real quick." And let's be honest, the Giants' downfall wasn't a mystery. Everybody saw it coming in slow motion. It looked like watching a car gently roll into a ditch while the driver swears everything is fine. 2 seasons, 8 wins, and an offense so lost it probably needed GPS to find the end zone. All Stefanski had to do was learn from that example. But instead, he kept pushing forward and letting Karma handle the scoreboard. It's like the football gods looked down and said, "Don't stress, Shedeur, we got this one."
Allow it, right? And for too long under these guys, they've continued to allow it. This is time to put your damn foot down, and he's not. Okay, and I think that's a needless tragedy for Kevin Stefanski's coaching career.
Okay, but that even goes down to what they're doing with Dillon Gabriel. Why is he still playing? There's no reason for Dillon Gabriel to still be playing. And if you're going to tell me Shedeur's not ready, I'll tell you all the different ways that Dillon Gabriel wasn't ready, and you put him out there in the 5th week, and you let him go ahead and try anyway. Like it's stuff like that. Like if you're trying to convince me that they're actually trying to win these games, then why is Dillon going out there? Why are they not making any actual moves that would suggest that they're...
And they delivered in style. Now, every time someone mentions Brian Daboll getting fired, the internet instantly brings back that pre-draft moment like it's a classic meme. People are like, "Oh, the guy who said Shedeur wasn't ready? Yeah, he's job hunting now." It's turned into one of those life lessons your grandma would stitch on a blanket. Don't throw shade if you can't handle the cloud. But speaking of shade, Stefanski better grab sunscreen because he's next in line. He's out here defending Dillon Gabriel like the man just won league MVP. Meanwhile, the offense looks like it breaks out in hives every time it gets close to the end zone. And every time Stefanski repeats, "We're working on getting better," you can practically hear Karma whispering, "You're working on getting replaced." And here's what's coming next. Go ahead and mark this down. Eventually, the media is going to turn up the heat and start asking the real questions. Why isn't Shedeur getting first-team reps? Why hasn't he been given a fair look? Why are we ignoring the obvious? And Stefanski will be up there sweating through his shirt, giving long corporate answers about development and trusting the process while everyone watching rolls their eyes. Then, when the Browns slide into another losing streak, the pressure cooker is going to blow. The GM will start giving those quiet stares. Ownership will let little sources say rumors slip. And the same reporters who once tossed him gentle questions will start sharpening their microphones like they're prepping for battle. Shedeur doesn't even need to talk trash. His presence alone shakes careers. The man just exists, and suddenly people's win columns shrink, job security fades like cheap ink, and team meetings start feeling like early exit interviews. It's wild out here. Stefanski doesn't even realize he's walking straight into the same trap Brian did, and the whole league can see it coming like a slow-motion replay. The Browns fan base is already restless. And every time Shedeur stands on that sideline looking calm and locked in, it just adds more pressure to the fire. You can feel the shift happening. Fans aren't whispering anymore. They're demanding answers louder every week. Because here's the truth everyone sees except the people making the decisions. Shedeur looks too polished to be standing still. Every clip from practice shows him slinging perfect passes, reading defenses, staying composed like he's been in the league for years.
Firing Daboll. Woo! Daboll. Which we all kind of saw coming, right? Whoop-de-doo. So this is his third consecutive season, and the man has gone 20, 40, and 1. So very unimpressive 3 years with the Giants. And so, Skip, were you even surprised that they're firing Daboll?
Look, he obviously needed to go.
And somehow, Stefanski keeps pretending this is all part of the development plan, like he's reading from a manual nobody else has ever seen. Sooner or later, someone inside the building is going to crack. A teammate's going to slip up in a post-game interview and say, Shedeur's been ready, and boom, there goes the whole PR script. Reporters will jump on it instantly, fans will replay it 1,000 times, and suddenly Stefanski's whole explanation collapses like a folding chair at a parade. The wild part? Shedeur doesn't even need drama to make noise. His talent does the talking. Every incomplete drive, every stalled possession, every game that ends with what if makes the spotlight on him brighter. And the longer this drags on, the more the universe starts lining up its next punchline. Because karma doesn't rush. She arrives right on schedule. And when she stops by Cleveland, she's not knocking softly. She's kicking the door open with a headline that says, "You should have played him when you had the chance." And here's where things get even messier. Because once the calls for Shedeur get loud enough, the whole organization starts feeling that pressure bubbling under the surface. Coaches start snapping in interviews. Players start giving those careful answers that sound rehearsed, and the fan base begins counting down the days like it's a suspense series. Every loss becomes another episode in a storyline Stefanski definitely didn't want. You can already picture that moment. One more rough game, one more wasted drive, one more "we'll watch the film," and the crowd's gonna erupt like they've been waiting all season. The chants start, the signs pop up in the stands, and the cameras zoom in on Shedeur standing there in helmet and pads like the solution they refuse to use. It's going to be chaos, but the entertaining kind. And when the heat finally hits the max level, Stefanski will do what every coach does when the seat gets too hot, try to pivot. Suddenly the tone will change. He'll start saying things like, "We've always believed in Shedeur."
Well, this basically sums up what it's like to potentially be a head coach in the National Football League. You get your first shot because you have, amongst other things, come up through the, I guess, Saban/Belichick tree. I'm sure Belichick was talking about Daboll to the Mara and Tisch family saying, hire this guy. And you also saw what he did to Josh Allen, and you hire the Bills general manager. Let's bring it together and let's go. And all he does with Daniel Jones is make the playoffs and win Coach of the Year that year. We all know that.
Or he's been preparing for this moment, like nobody remembers the last few months of excuses. The internet will tear that apart instantly, because fans aren't slow. They've seen this exact storyline before. They remember how Brian tried to rewrite history when his job was slipping away. They remember the interviews, the mixed messages, the finger pointing. Now the same pattern is unfolding again, and everyone's watching it like a reality show with no commercial breaks. The funniest part? Shedeur doesn't have to force anything. All he has to do is stay ready, stay sharp, and keep doing what he's always done. The moment he steps on that field, the whole energy shifts. And when that day comes, trust, the entire league is going to feel it. And the wildest part, Shedeur doesn't even flex about any of this. That's what makes the whole situation sting even harder. He just stays calm, keeps working, keeps showing up ready, and lets the world put the pieces together on its own. Meanwhile, the same people who claimed he wasn't ready are sitting at home watching him play on Sundays, realizing they accidentally became the plot twist in his story. Talk about a reality check. Full control, huh? Cool. Because when this ship goes down, you get full credit too.
Celebrities have reacted to Brian Daboll being removed as the Giants head coach. First up, Jackson Dart said, "No way." Next, Russell Wilson said, I don't think there's anyone not shocked. Next, Theo Johnson said, feeling conflicted right now. And finally, Travis Kelce said, I need the details. Cannot believe this happened. Brian Daboll has been removed as the New York Giants head coach after another disastrous start to the season. The news comes after the team's 2-8 record and another fourth quarter collapse against Chicago on.
Congrats. You're basically steering the Titanic while bragging about holding the wheel steady. That's confidently wrong energy at its finest, and karma absolutely loves that kind of behavior. So now the Browns are out here looking like a busted Madden simulation. The offense keeps glitching, and Stefanski is dismissing Shedeur like that's gonna save anything. The countdown has already started. At this point, the whole season feels like it came with one simple message. Keep Shedeur's name out your mouth unless you're ready for your career to take a surprise vacation. The man walks around like a karma boomerang. Throw shade his way, and it zips right back faster than a clean blitz. So let's break it down one last time. Brian Daboll tried to play draft genius, questioned Shedeur's preparation, and ended up unemployed with a record so rough it looks like a calculator glitch. Kevin Stefanski is tiptoeing across the same tightrope, pretending everything's fine while the offense falls apart in broad daylight. Meanwhile, Shedeur's story just keeps building. Delayed, not denied, and getting stronger every step he takes. And every move he makes forward turns their downfall into comedy gold in hindsight. Call it fate, call it karma, call it the football gods running a perfect trick play, whatever you want. One thing is clear. Brian never saw it coming because, ironically enough, he wasn't prepared. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and share the video. See you on the next one.